And now for further analysis, let's welcome our guest now. Olusegun Okwande is Chairman of Ikeja District Society of ICANN. He joins us virtually now. Thank you for your time, Olusegun. We appreciate you now, and a compliment of the season.
Frank, compliment of season to all our viewers. The year is gradually winding up, and we thank God for that. The hope of launching bigger and better in the year 2023.
All right. Thank you. Let's have your take on the passage of the budget. And it's no news that the passage of the budget, happened yesterday. But what is now news is that the National Assembly has raised spending by more than 1 trillion naira. How does that come across to you?
It's not a new thing. If you ask me, we've always had situations where when the executive submit the budget to the National Assembly, we always have this addition for things that they consider it's needed to be added. But I've always said this: it's a budget, which is just a guide. It doesn't really show that we are going to expend the funds that we're talking about. So there is a control mechanism put in place as we speak. I think on the aspect of revenue, we've only attained 35% of the budgeted revenue and 59% on the side of expenditure. So budget is always a guide to see how far we can improve the life of average citizen. I don't consider that as new, because if there are no revenue, whatever you must have increased, we will definitely not get it. So they need to drive the revenue aspect of it if the expenditure must flow.
Interesting. But again, one wonders why that, because that should be the duty or the responsibility, all right, the oversight function of the executive. What's your take on that, and what's your stand about that? Because some people say, now, who should in the first place see a need to raise spending, if not the executives? Hello, Mr. Olusegun. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I was asking you that most Nigerians, their position is that who should have that responsibility of raising spending, if not the executive? Why should it be the National Assembly?
Yeah, it's a lacuna that we have seen each time the executive takes the budget to the legislative house, and it's like I'm twisting them. If you want the budget to be approved, we have certain things. I'm sure you are aware of constituency project and some other things. So they await them and give us some of the quota. But some of us have objectively criticized this, that the legislators are to work in tandem with the law and make sure that they have the oversight function, that the executive do not abuse the power that is entrenched in them. And whatever constituency project that they want to do, they should entrench into the ministry that is concerned for implementation. But that seems to be falling on the deaf ear of our politicians. Everyone seems to have a fair share, so that individual will know that legislators too can go back to their constituency and give value for democracy for their members. So it's something that has been reoccurring, and I think it's something that is becoming a constant thing annually when they bring the budget, and we tend to be living by it. But it's not the way to go. But that's where we found ourselves.
It's a conversation, of course, we'll have to revisit over and over again in the coming days as the year winds down, getting to the year 2023. So let's move on now to the next story, which, of course, talked about Senate asking the CBN to extend deadlines.
Frank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I was taking you to the next story, of course, which talk about the old Naira note withdrawal from the circulation and being replaced with the new Naira note. Senate is asking for extension. How does that come to you? Because the CBN has given January 31 for the deadline to totally withdraw, take out or mop out the old Naira notes in circulation.
Yeah, I want to state that the extension, based on what we're saying, since the introduction of the new currency in December 15, there might be need for extension because there seems to be this gap between the masses and the elite. I've watched so much videos where people are still challenging, not having the foresight or the foreknowledge of the new currency. So if you are taking off the old one, I think we should allow it to entrench. I may not support to have till June, but maybe around March. But they might be saying that that is during the election. But I feel that there is need, considering the fact that there is this knowledge gap with the masses. Majority of them are not having a feel of the new currency. And I've said this on several forums, stating that it's the duty of we, the elites, to enlighten the people around us. Right. They may not have access to it. People like us have had access, and I've invited people. This is the new 1,000. This is the new 500. This is the new 200. You know, you may not give it to them, but you're in your church, in your mosque, in your community. You let them have a feel and show them the basic feature. You know, just like the CBN has done. And I'm sure if we give that enlightenment, even if they can't have a feel of it, when they are getting it, they will have the foreknowledge that we have the new currency in circulation and reduce the communication gap that we are facing currently.
Just quickly before we move on to the next story, some people believe that the extension will, it's indirect endorsement for corruption, because in the first place, one of the reasons why we're having this new Naira note now is to curb corruption, or perhaps vote buying in 2023, according to CBN, as of course according to analysts as well. So how does that sit with the intention of the CBN in the first place to ensure that we don't have Naira moving around during the election time?
Frank, permit me to say, immediately the CBN shifts their steps in the area of the withdrawal limits.
I think we're having we're having a connection issue there, interruption or disruption by the poor signal.
Naira, the likes of
okay, go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
On the commercial banks to make sure that their platform are working and there are swift response. So for me, why I'm giving a nod, even though I'm not giving extension till June, is because we have shifted the ground in the area of cash withdrawal limits, which we thought is going to put a check on the level of cash that will be in circulation. Now that we've opened that, then the issue of we saying that the new Naira currency, you make the withdrawal January, will really not be visible. We are not attacking corruption again. We tend to be playing to the gallery. If they have stood their ground, I would have said, okay, we are out to curb vote buying or corruption. But soft-pedaling on that aspect gives room that these two needs to be, and CBN needs to do more in enlightening people, producing jingles in different dialects, going to areas to make sure that people have the foreknowledge of this new currency that we're talking about.
Okay, let's hope that the CBN will hit the set its call, do otherwise. Let's move to the next story, of course, which talk about the intention of the House Committee on Healthcare Services to backing the increase of excise duty. Of course, the initial 10 naira, they said it's not enough again, because some people are calling that of course should be increased to 20 naira per litre in the coming years. What's your position?
My position is that the position of the House Committee on Health this thing is faulty. This is something they are adopting from the developed clime, but they are not taking into clank and sinker, taking the asset and leaving the liability. Even in the same time where the this kind of tax is burdensome, people still take too much of sugar. What they do is that they are health facility to take care of it. But here, are they providing the health facility that is expected? Even with the deduction they've been making over years, the answer is no. So for me, raising too much burden when you have not fulfilled the other aspect of it, let me put it in accounting terms, it's like debit and credit. You want to collect the money and you are not providing the infrastructure for health care. So you will definitely throw the account imbalance. So until they are able to justify that the so-called money that they've been able to, in terms of this, have actually gone into health development, health infrastructure, then you can be talking of increasing the facility. Majority of the people that have diabetes still pay through their nose, even some have to travel out of the country to get some of these problems solved. So I don't think it's aspect of hiking the price, but doing what is needful, providing the infrastructure that is expected. When you increase the price, then we know there is justification for it. But since we are not getting value for it, I'm not a party supporting this, even though it's a lottery policy which is adopted from the developed world. But they must copy it in full. Provide the health infrastructure for every citizen, and then you can raise the bar. Don't raise the bar and refuse to fulfill the other side of the contract that is expected of you.
I think really this calls for a negotiation, perhaps a roundtable discussion between the stakeholders in the industry, the health practitioners, and of course the operators in the beverage sector with the government, to come to a roundtable to look at these and perhaps be able to make their promise come through. But I mean, let's move to the next story now. We hope that the government will be able to do something with that. But this particular story, interesting story here, which talk about the telcos operators, planning again or asking to push further, review the course of telecom service delivery upward. I mean, remember as at yesterday, subscribers are already considering how to take the government to court over the imposition of the current charges on some of these services. But here we are again. The operators are saying this is not enough. The current charges are not enough, and that has to be reviewed across board upward. What's your take? But if you can hear me, I just want
I'm hearing you very well.
Okay,
I think
please. Yes, please go ahead, and let's have your take quickly before we wrap up. Yes, so if you can hear me, just go ahead and make your position known on this, because recently okay, go ahead. I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, one of the key factors in their cost of production is power. They do not have power, and they have to make alternative use through the use of generator. And some of their sites run on generator for 24 hours. And you can imagine, at the beginning of the year or late last year, they were buying diesel at the rate of 130, 150 per liter. As we speak, it's about 700 to 750, which is like ×5 of what it used to be. And they have been looking for a way to maintain status quo. I feel government coming again to say they want to impose the tax of 5%.
Yeah,
on that telecom.
Yes.
Telco tax, problem, only creating problem for the masses, and that they need to give an insight to. In as much as I know that the purchasing power of an average citizen has actually been nosediving, I will not support the increase, but we must allow the company themselves to survive. And the only way is for government to cushion the effect of whatever they are giving to them. I think these are the people that should enjoy subsidy, considering the fact that they invest a lot in some of the things, social responsibility they provide to cushion some of the things. They are in the telco, they are in the education, providing scholarship, they are in the medical outfit, providing PPP with states and some communities to provide healthcare sector. They construct roads. How do you want them to survive when they are providing some of the things that government needs to do? I think it's high time government give a concession to them in such a way that one of their key elements, the two factor, which is foreign exchange, because majority of their equipment are being imported and they need foreign exchange, and they find it difficult to access some of these things. The second aspect is power. They need power to make sure that their base station run 24/7. And if you don't provide that power, since the electricity is not available as expected and the other cost of alternative is high, I think government should give consideration to this sector so that an average people, because everything is going internet-wise now, an average citizen can have benefit of good phone calls and data. so that we can transact bill. Don't forget, COVID-19 has exposed us to several things, and that's what everybody is practically doing, and we rely and count on the telco to make the digitalization of the process more seamless and more effective.
And interestingly, should the operators push home their demand and it's approved, it means that Nigerians have to brace up to pay more for the cost of these services. I mean, so
definitely,
yes,
definitely, Frank, and that's not what we will not. We will not want to start the year with that. In all fairness, but I feel for the business owner because they have to survive, and that's why government must look at areas to cushion some of their needs, so that whatever you are imposing on them will not be borne by the average masses, you and I, on the streets.
Well, like you said, we hope that the government will be able to give them a consensus. Thank you so much, Olusegun Kwade, Chairman, Ikeja. This is Society of ICANN. Ikeja, this is Society of ICANN. Thank you for joining us on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, and I want to wish you a prosperous 2023 to see you on the other side next year by God's grace.
Exactly. Thank you so much. You too. Have a great day.